Sylvester Stallone is approaching his 80th birthday, and just when fans thought his time as John Rambo had fully ended with Last Blood back in 2019, the legend is making headlines again. Not because he's returning to the role, but because he's officially passing the torch. The surprising news is that the Rambo legacy is set to continue with a brand new prequel film, and the young star stepping into Stallone's military boots is none other than Noah Centineo. Now, for younger audiences, Noah Centineo might be a familiar face from his breakout role into All the Boys I've Loved Before. He's also taken on grittier roles, like in Netflix's The Recruit, and even dipped his toes into the superhero world with Black Adam. But being cast as the younger John Rambo? That's an entirely different challenge. We're talking about a role so iconic, so deeply associated with Sylvester Stallone, that it practically defined the entire lone soldier action hero genre for over 4 decades. And now, the challenge is not just acting, it's carrying the emotional weight of a character scarred by war, trauma, and survival, a character that audiences have long tied exclusively to Stallone. To put this into perspective, let's rewind. The Rambo saga began in 1982 with First Blood, based on David Morrell's novel. In that film, Stallone played John Rambo, a Vietnam veteran struggling with PTSD and alienation upon returning home, only to be pushed into conflict with local law enforcement. The film wasn't just an action movie, it was social commentary. Stallone transformed Rambo from a character on the page into a cultural symbol, the misunderstood soldier who never truly left the battlefield. The sequels that followed, First Blood Part 2 in 1885, Rambo 3 in 1988, the revival in Rambo 2008, and finally Rambo Last Blood in 2019 cemented the franchise as one of the most brutal yet emotional portrayals of post-war trauma and unrelenting survival instinct. Stallone himself has always had a complicated relationship with Rambo. He's admitted many times that Rambo is both a blessing and a curse, a role that gave him worldwide fame, but also one that has been nearly impossible to outgrow. For years, Stallone toyed with ideas of how to keep Rambo alive. One of the wildest ideas he revealed recently was his plan to make a prequel using AI de-aging technology where he would personally play an 18-year-old John Rambo. Imagine that! Stallone at 80 years old digitally turned back into a teenager, showing Rambo as a popular high schooler, even describing him as prom king, a charismatic young man before the horrors of war broke him. But in the end, that vision never materialized. And instead, Hollywood has gone in a different direction. That new direction is John Rambo, the official prequel. The movie is set to explore Rambo's time in Vietnam, his transformation from an ambitious, youthful soldier into the hardened warrior fans met in First Blood. This means we're going to see the battles, the losses, the friendships, and the psychological scars that shaped him. This isn't just another action flick. It's essentially the missing chapter in Rambo's story, a chance to understand why he became the man we saw in the original movies. For Noah Centineo, this is both a massive opportunity and an equally massive risk. Fans are divided. Some are excited to see a fresh take, while others are skeptical, saying no one can ever really replace Stallone as Rambo. On social media, reactions have ranged from "give the kid a chance, every legend had a beginning," to "Rambo without Stallone is like Rocky without the gloves. It's passionate, it's emotional, and it shows just how much the character means to fans worldwide." And Stallone, interestingly, he's handling this transition with surprising grace. He's not bitter, not trying to fight for ownership of the character. Instead, he seems ready to let Rambo evolve beyond him. He's openly said that Rambo is bigger than just one man, and that sometimes stories need fresh voices and new faces to keep them alive. Of course, Stallone will always be the original, the benchmark against which all others are measured. But at nearly 80 years old, he knows it's time for the franchise to adapt, and he appears to respect the decision to cast Centineo. This passing of the torch is also symbolic of Stallone's career overall. Think about it. He gave the world Rocky Balboa, another character who was eventually continued in a new way through Creed with Michael J. Borden. Just like Rocky's legacy lived on through Adonis Creed, it looks like Rambo's story will continue through the lens of a younger actor exploring his origins. Stallone has built characters so iconic that they no longer belong just to him. They belong to pop culture history. Now, the upcoming prequel, John Rambo, is scheduled to begin filming soon, with production taking place in Southeast Asia, rumored to include locations in Thailand to capture the raw, intense atmosphere of the Vietnam War era. The director, Jalmari Helander, known for gritty and stylized action, is expected to bring a very visceral feel to the story. And with writers Rory Haynes and Sohrab Noshrivani attached, audiences can expect a script that doesn't shy away from the darker, more emotional side of Rambo's journey. This isn't just going to be endless gunfire and explosions. It's shaping up to be a character study, a deep dive into what makes Rambo tick. Of course, that doesn't mean fans won't get action. The Rambo franchise has always been about spectacle, the lone warrior taking on impossible odds, facing not just external enemies, but his own inner demons. Centineo will be stepping into grueling training to build the physicality required for the role. Fans will no doubt scrutinize every muscle, every movement, to see if he can embody the grit that Stallone brought naturally. And here's the bigger picture. Stallone turning 80 isn't just a milestone for him personally, it's a milestone for Hollywood. He's one of the last remaining action giants from the golden era, alongside names like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Bruce Willis. Watching him gracefully hand off Rambo is like watching a generational baton pass, and acknowledgement that the stories we love will continue even if the faces telling them change. So, as Stallone prepares to celebrate his 80th birthday and step away from the battlefield once and for all, Noah Centineo takes on the impossible mission of becoming John Rambo for a new generation. Will he succeed? Will fans embrace him? Or will they always long for Stallone's original portrayal? That remains to be seen. But one thing is certain, Rambo's story is far from over.